Yo, what is happening, baby? It's your boy Indo. Thank you so much again for tuning in to another episode of the Huddle Chat Sports Center. Again, I'm coming at you today with some very hot topics. You know, we like to plow new ground. We like to tackle content, teams, players, storylines that aren't getting as much attention as they should throughout the NFL. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of hearing about, the New England Patriots and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys and just the same teams over and over and over constantly, while there are really great storylines going on in the NFL as well as other sports that don't get as much attention as they should. And that's what we try to tackle here at TAC Sports. It's those storylines that don't get as much national attention as they should. And I'm here for all y'all underdogs. So today we're going to be talking about the toughest division in the NFL. It's not going to be the NFC East, the division that people always seem to fucking talk about. Can't stand that shit. But we're going to be talking about the NFC. We're going to be talking about the toughest division in the NFL, as well as we're going to be discussing who may be the most underrated player in the NFL today. And of course, as always, if you're new to the channel and you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And always hit that notifications bell so that you can always be one of the first people to see these new episodes when they come out, especially when I come out with later on this week my love and hate list, start 'em and sit 'em, certain fantasy football updates, as well as weekly updates on your favorite teams. And if you haven't already followed me, liked me at this point, man, why you still watching? Why you just hurt my feelings at this point, aren't you? But anyway, let's get right into it. You know how we do it around here. Got to stay high for the high quality.
Like, as soon as you click on the video, it's, and then, marijuana title cards with smoke coming up. It's like,
I just wanna know how you feel. Tell me, am I doing it right? I may be covered in cat hair, but I still smell good. Baby, let me know, how do I like it, my do-rag? Don't lie to me, let me run.
Now, like I said, we're going to be discussing today the toughest team in the NFL right now. It's going to be the NFC West. I mean, just look at that division. You got the Seattle Seahawks, the Rams, the Cardinals, the 49ers. And besides the Cardinals, look at the other three teams, the Rams, the 49ers, and the Seahawks. And just in the last decade, how many of the NFC Super Bowl representatives have come out of the NFC West? At the current moment, that NFC West has got to be the toughest division in the NFL, hands down. And even as so be considered, right now the two of the main favorite MVP candidates going into everything are Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson, both coming out of the same division. I think Russell Wilson, if we're just talking between the two, is easily going to win the MVP over Kyler Murray, strictly off of national attention. The Seahawks are always on TV. Everybody's going to see Russell Wilson doing it. Kyler Murray is going to quietly dominate this league this year. And this is going to be Kyler Murray's takeoff year, in a year where everybody's really expecting him to ball. And honestly, I really think the Arizona Cardinals are going to shock the world this year. The Arizona Cardinals, I think, have a really good chance at competing for this NFC West title. I believe Stephen A. Smith a couple weeks ago say that he thinks the Arizona Cardinals are competing for last place, for third or fourth in their division. So they're competing for third or even fourth behind the Los Angeles Rams. And I just think that's blasphemous. I mean, just look at how the Arizona Cardinals are playing. I mean, right now, at this current moment, the Arizona Cardinals have to be top four teams that your team does not want to run up upon in the NFL schedule. The Arizona Cardinals are hot right now. They finished last season with a middle-of-the-road offensive line, middle-of-the-road defense, and they're coming out this year to prove that they have improved on both of those units. Their defense, they completely revamped the linebacker core. They hopefully will be able to maintain their two cornerbacks healthy for the full season. Their front four is absolutely dominant. But then you have to look at, of course, the big trade, the big news behind the Arizona Cardinals this season, and that was the trade to DeAndre from getting rid of David Johnson, which was an absolutely amazing move. I don't even know how the Arizona Cardinals were able to pull it off. David Johnson, seemingly a useless piece on the Arizona Cardinals scheme, and an extremely high contract. They end up trading him and getting somebody else to not only take his contract, but also send the most dominant wide receiver in the NFL right now. And there were a lot of questions coming into this season whether DeAndre Hopkins was going to be able to click with Kyler Murray. And honestly, I didn't want to hear absolutely none of that shit, because let's look at DeAndre Hopkins, not last year, right before Deshaun Watson came into the league. Do you remember that season when they had Brock Osweiler as their starting quarterback, and then went on for that season to have, I believe, 7 or 8 different starting quarterbacks in the same season? And DeAndre Hopkins still maintained top 3 wide receiver status throughout that whole time. I mean, before he got Deshaun Watson, look at the amount of quarterbacks and the quality of the quarterbacks that DeAndre Hopkins was playing with. And that it was he had absolute trash throwing him the football. And DeAndre Hopkins was still one of the best wide receivers in football, and in a fantasy football perspective as well. Now you look at Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray this season has thrown for 516 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. He's also added 3 rushing touchdowns on that, and he's ran for over 150 yards. I believe 158 yards. He's averaging about 79 rushing yards a game. And right now, if he continues on that pace, he's on pace to finish the season with 1,264 rushing yards, which would be enough to break last season's set NFL rushing record set by a quarterback. He'd break Lamar Jackson's record last season if he maintains his current pace on rushing yards per game. He's got a very smart mind. He's he's very athletic, and he just has that feel for when to escape the pocket, when to roll out, and just when to get out and use them legs. And it's honestly, whenever you see him take off, it's surprising. It's hella entertaining to watch Kyler Murray play, because he's got an insane acceleration. If his acceleration isn't almost a 99 in Madden, I don't know what they're talking about, because that man takes off out of that backfield. Within the first 2 weeks, we've already seen the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray face 2 of the most highly touted front fours in football with the Washington football team and the San Francisco 49ers. And he's absolutely shredded them. Like I said, look at his stats. He's already put up over 100 rushing yards. He's already thrown 2 touchdowns and ran 3 touchdowns. And he's already thrown for over 500 yards. Now, the trick question, though, is what are they going to continue to do? Because it's only week 2. It's really early to start blaring the horn on an undefeated team, and because there's a lot of undefeated teams here in the league altogether. Between the 4 teams in their division, they have 3 undefeated teams still. So, of course, within the next couple of weeks, we're going to see some of those drop off. And I don't see any of these undefeated teams really maintaining this over a long period of time. I mean, you look at just their division, they got Arizona, the Rams, Seattle, all undefeated teams. And then you have Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, who are, you can expect to keep that undefeated record through 5, 6, 7 weeks, and maybe even longer. And then you got like the Packers, the Titans, and even the Raiders, who have come out here and kind of surprised some people. And there's going to be some questions coming up with health and things like that. I don't think the Packers can maintain it, especially already seeing Devontae Adams suffer with some injuries, and I just don't believe in the Packers. I do think the Raiders have a good chance of maintaining this record for a little bit, but it all depends on when they run up on their own divisional opponents. And then, of course, you got Pittsburgh and Chicago, who you don't really expect them to maintain that. But the key thing for the Arizona Cardinals right now is coming up in the next few weeks, they play the Detroit Lions, the Carolina Panthers without Christian McCaffrey, and the New York Jets. I mean, you couldn't build a more perfect recipe for a 5-0 start. And then their next game after that is a Monday Night Football appearance against the Dallas Cowboys, and we all know how the Dallas Cowboys play. They're just one of those teams that play to their competition. They could lose to the Jets, and in the very next week, put up points with Kansas City and compete with Kansas City. So that's going to be a very 50-50 game, but Monday Night Football, especially with a young quarterback like Kyler Murray, it's prime time. You can never know what to expect, so they have a very good chance to come in week 6 before they actually see Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks at 6-0. And I mean, you couldn't build a better matchup. The 2 highest MVP candidates, and if Kyler Murray does start winning those games, starts going 4-0, starts going 5-0, and even potentially goes 6-0 before he plays Seattle, then he's going to start getting that attention that he deserves. But until then, I think because of the weak teams that they're playing, like I said earlier, Russell Wilson is going to have that upper hand in the MVP conversation. Until Kyler Murray can prove otherwise. He has to come into Seattle that week, and he has to play well. He has to beat Seattle. He has to beat Russell Wilson. He truly has to beat him out. And they get 2 cracks at Seattle in the season, thankfully for them. So the Arizona Cardinals do have a pretty decent judge on what they're going to be potential-wise coming into the NFL playoffs. And I really do think that they have a really great chance at shocking everybody and even potentially coming out with that NFC West title. But it all depends on how Kyler Murray plays. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins has already proven that there's really needs to be no adjustment period. Just throw him the ball. Kenyon Drake's also going to be coming in really well. The Cardinals' offense rushing game has been very surprising, especially since they got Kenyon Drake last season from the Miami Dolphins. Through those 8 weeks that he played, he was the third best running back in a fantasy football perspective, which can only tell you how he played in real football. So their rushing game is it's on the rise there, and of course, any rushing game with a rushing quarterback like that is always going to be decent. Now, the next thing I really want to get into here, it's a very controversial topic to me, and I just don't understand why it's not controversial to everybody. So I'm going to try to open a couple people's eyes today. Let me ask you, what linebacker through his first 30 games has accrued 300 tackles, which would be the most by any player through the first 30 games since 1987. I'll let you ponder on that for a moment. Now I'm going to ask you another question. What linebacker is the only linebacker in his first 2 seasons to compile at least 250 tackles and 12 sacks upon his first 2 seasons? I'm going to let you ponder on that one for a moment as well. I'd like to ask you one more question. What linebacker leads all inside linebackers in interceptions since he entered the league 2 seasons ago? I mean, I just kind of gave you a little hint there with it being 2 seasons ago. It's not going to be Bobby Wagner. It's not going to be Eric Kendricks. It's not going to be Trayman Edmonds. It's damn sure not going to be Leighton Vander Esch. It's the maniac, Darius Leonard from the Indianapolis Colts. He is the most underrated player in the NFL today. And it infuriates me. And it's only because he plays on the Indianapolis Colts, a team that doesn't get very many national TV games. Actually, this will be the second year in a row that we get no Sunday night or Monday night football games. But that's besides the point. That's another issue for another episode. Let me get into that right now. But how can we just bypass the greatness that is Darius Leonard? How can you not see this? Let me read these stats to you one more time. He just played his 30th game in the NFL, and he's accrued 300 tackles, which is the most tackles by any linebacker in the NFL since 1987, at least 1987. He leads all inside linebackers in interceptions since entering the league. He has 7 interceptions so far. He's the only linebacker post-merger to accrue 250 tackles and 12 sacks within his first 2 seasons. The man in his first season didn't even make the Pro Bowl. It was disrespectful because the media didn't even know who he was. But let me tell you who did make the Pro Bowl. Leighton Vander Esch from the Dallas Cowboys. Why? The man wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, I might add. And we're seriously going to just keep bypassing the greatness that is Darius Leonard? He has to be at minimum top three linebackers in the NFL right now. And nobody discusses the greatness that is Darius Leonard. He makes the team great around him. He is great himself. He's everywhere. If you do ever get the chance to watch an Indianapolis Colts game, you will see 53 everywhere. He's always making plays, and it's just exciting to watch. I implore you, go out there, just look at Darius Leonard on Google. Look it up on YouTube. Just look at a quick 5-minute, 7-minute highlight video of Darius Leonard. And let me tell you that this man is one of the best players in the NFL, and I'm tired of the disrespect on his name. I need y'all to start putting respect on my man, the Maniac. Let me calm down. So I got a little excited about my boy, man, because it infuriates me. I just don't understand how people don't see. I mean, I understand how you don't see it, because unfortunately the Indianapolis Colts keep getting continual disrespect. Yes, last year Andrew Luck retired, but the year before, we were a playoff team who just only improved. And unfortunately, Andrew Luck retired. But that was after they came out with the NFL schedule and put the Colts on absolutely no national TV games. We only get the one Thursday night football game, which is on NFL Network. In most cases, you can't even get that if you on a regular cable package. You got to get a special package for the NFL Network. This year, again, no Sunday night, no Monday night. Most of our games are at 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock Eastern. So the man just doesn't get the attention that he deserves. But I promise you, you look up at Darius Leonard, you get a chance to watch the Colts game, you see Darius Leonard in action, and you're going to be blown away. Stop disrespecting my man. Anyway, I would like to thank y'all again so much for tuning in to today's episode. Don't forget, I'm coming out with more episodes later on this week. We got some fantasy football advice to come out. You know, the stardom and sit-ems this week, the love and hate, who you should trade for, you know, the buy low, sell high, things like that. And, of course, I've always got an Indianapolis Colts update coming. A full Indianapolis Colts update coming, not just one player on the Indianapolis Colts. The most exciting player to watch on the Indianapolis Colts right now as well. But then, of course, I'm going to come back next week with y'all with a Week 3 recap. I'm going to try to start actually getting more episodes coming out. Right now, I'm going about 1 episode a week. I'm going to try to push that to 2 or 3 episodes a week, depending on the content I can get. So you're going to start seeing a lot more of the Huddle Chat Sports coming around. Thank you, everybody who have been following me and supporting me so far. I'm up to 13 or 14 subscribers at this current moment, and it's awesome. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you all so much for the love. We're going to get that number up. I think I might do even a giveaway or something at 25 subscribers, maybe even 50. We'll figure out how quickly everything goes along. But thank you again so much for tuning in to the Huddle Chat Sports Center. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Stay easy out there. Much love. Stay blazing, man.